I'm walking down the block, I'm in the cityscape, chasing down a break, out here to meet my fate. Every day is new, every day is change. Have to ride the tidal wave as all things rearrange. Stores come and go, stories write themselves. Neighbors lived in heaven, now they're in a living hell. The city has a life that's all its own. That neighborhood was live till it died, dead and gone. This is the city life, this is the place I roam. This is the place where I reside and I just call my home. This is the city life, this is the place I roam. This is the place where I reside and I just call my own. I'm still paying rent for this apartment house. In the past 5 years, the neighbors priced me out. Landlord pays my rent, he's grabbing every cent. I'm out here grabbing straws, looking for a place to rest. Now the rent is rising, every place I look, and every landlord that I meet is looking like a crook. They just want my money, don't care if I can eat. They don't care if I step out here in the nigga street. This is the city life, this is the place I roam. This is the place where I reside and I just call my home. This is the city life, this is the place I roam. This is the place where I reside and I just call my home.
Welcome to Carbon Fields. In our last video about the Subaru Legacy, we spoke about the Impreza STI. Today we have with us a clean, daily driven Impreza STI version 6. Let's check this car out. In its most humble form, the first generation Impreza was offered with a 1.5 litre front wheel drive sedan or hatchback, which looks a lot like a station wagon, but then Subaru calls it a hatchback, so hatchback. 1.5 litre, 1.6, 1.8, 2 litre, 2.2 and 2.5 litre were options you could choose from, engine options, whereas the WRX versions were offered with the 2 and 2.2 litre EJ20 and EJ22 engines. The EJ22 was not really an option, it was only offered in the STI 22B, which was a limited production rally car, wide body two-door built for the street to commemorate Subaru's 40th anniversary and its third consecutive manufacturer's title in the FIA WRC. Subaru offered the rally-inspired WRX versions for the street, so turbocharged, 4 cylinders, Subaru's all-wheel drive system were all standard equipment. The turbocharged flat force pushed out about a 236-ish horsepower, doesn't sound like much, but you should drive one to know what it's like. And automatic and manual gearboxes were options on these cars. Luckily though, the STIs were not offered with automatic gearboxes, because if you wanted an automatic STI, then don't even get one. Why? Just get something else. It's a driver's car. You need a clutch, you need a third pedal, you need the man pedal. Oh yeah, man pedal. Anyways, the STIs from the factory were offered with stiffer suspension, stiffer than the WRX, better chassis, blueprinted engines. If you don't know what blueprinting is, check it out on the internet. The internet is always your friend. Those are words I live by. I'm an internet boy. Better gearboxes, better turbochargers, so IHI VF28 in this one. And better brakes, of course, 4 piston calipers out front, 2 piston calipers at the back. Unfortunately, this car does not have STI 6 brakes at the back. It's WRX brakes if I'm not mistaken, but let's talk more about the brakes later on when we get into driving this car. Kaushalya wanted more than what Subaru had to offer, so he's gone for a set of fully adjustable gecko coilovers. The top mount intercooler has been binned and a Blitz front mount intercooler has been bolted on with all the piping. A Grady blow-off valve has been thrown in and all the coolant hoses have been swapped out for silicone items for good measure. The car is sitting on Nankang tires mounted to Speedline wheels painted gold, so Subaru's original blue and gold theme has been maintained to a great extent, except for the black fenders, which helps this car stand out from the others. A few subtle cosmetic mods like the bumper canards and blacked out headlights add to the overall look of the car, but they're so subtle you might not even notice them from afar. As soon as I get into a car, the first thing I do is adjust my seat and then adjust the mirrors. So when I came to the rearview mirror on this one, first thing I noticed is the huge spoiler at the back. Subaru's installed a spoiler for a reason. Subaru's not a spoiler, it's not a ricer, the company. It's there for a reason. This is a rally car for the street, obviously. And then the scoop, the huge scoop that gets in the way, it doesn't really get in the way, but it's right there. You notice it when you sit here in this driving seat or even in the front passenger seat. All of these things, these little things, they remind you that this car means the business. It was built for a purpose and it serves its purpose well. And right away we noticed how stiff this car is. Yes, it is on aftermarket suspension, but this car is actually pretty stiff. And our boy Rahul here is having a hard time keeping the camera straight, so please excuse us if it's a little shaky. that's just the life, you know. That's just how it is. When you buy one of these, or when you modify it, you accept that life, and it's a lifestyle. It's not just a mode of transport. It's not A to B, so you can't really complain. Although your lady friend or your mom might complain about it. So yeah, the steering wheel, not my favorite feature. I mean, it's all right. It's seen better days. Nice leather wrapped 4-spoke piece, but I don't really like it. Again, personal preference. You might, I might not. But I think it's a little too big and bulky. You know, it's all bulky and all of that. Not that it's hard to hold. I mean, your thumbs slot in nice, but I still feel like it's a little too big. At least for me, it's a little too big. And then the seats, again, for me, it's a little too big. I have room for activities. The harnesses are not here just for show. They serve a purpose. They've been bolted onto the back of the body pretty well. Just like how you should correctly install a harness, there's a way to correctly install a harness. You can't just bolt it down on the floor. That'll kill you and break your seat. Kaushalya has adjusted the harness for his body. He's a bigger guy, so it's a little loose on me, and I haven't adjusted it too well, just because I didn't want to trouble him too much when he gets in the car. So again, the harnesses, everything in this car is actually pretty functional. It serves a purpose. The dual stage boost controller, turbo smart, manual dual stage boost controller. My gosh, my English, but yeah. Serves the purpose. Kaushalya drag races this car, so he daily drives it and he drag races it. So it has boost control, launch control. It has a separate launch control unit fixed here. Drag racing, the three-wheeler guy just nodded at me, so yeah, of course, why not just nod back. Anyways, like I was saying, drag racing, the launch is pretty important, so he has a launch control unit just so he gets that perfect launch. I've seen this car run, and I've driven this car, obviously, so I know it runs well. Let's just make a U-turn real quick. Turning circle. Turning circle. Still better than an Evo, I think. But my friend had this Evo 6 and making a U-turn was a nightmare in it. The gears in this car are nice and notchy. One thing I've noticed about sports cars or cars that are somewhat race inspired, they have nice and notchy gearboxes. You know, one notch to the left and one notch to the front is first, and then 2 notches down second. I love that. The feel is just amazing. There's very little play. Again, it's an old car, so those are normal things. But yeah, nice and notchy. And the chassis is just, you feel it. It's stiffer than the Legacy. It's not as comfy as the Legacy. The seats alone aren't as comfortable. I honestly don't like these seats too much. They're okay, but giving me a bit of a spine ache now. I anyways have a bit of a spine problem. I'm an old boy. So yeah, dual stage boost controller. Kaushal has a little toggle switch here, so you can switch between high boost and low boost. We're in high boost right now. Just gonna wait till the road clears up a bit and drop a gear and oh yes. It pulls hard. See, this car is a good example for what you can do with one of these cars. It's almost stock, as in there aren't any crazy modifications, just the front mount and just a few things, boost control and, you know, little things, but the car runs so well. It pulls hard, unlike some cars that are heavily modified, which you hardly see running. But yeah, you get it, you get the point. I love this car. I really like this car, except for the steering wheel. But then this has an airbag, which is why it's probably so big and all of that. You're just bouncing around in this one. It's nothing like the Legacy. It's a lot different. You should drive one to know what it's like, especially on the aftermarket suspension. I'm sure you can make this much stiffer, and you can make it harder. You can make it a harsher ride if you're gonna race it. But then this is a street car, so it has been balanced to a great extent. It's a good balance actually. It's not hard to live with. You can live with it, and you can race it as well. And the brakes, I must mention, Kaushalya has some Project Mu brake pads out front, just some OEM replacement pads at the back. They do their job well. Just that the car likes to play a bit when you brake hard. There is no ABS on this one. I don't know why. But yeah, it likes to play a bit, so you have to be a little careful. When you're under braking, you have to be careful. Either way, when you're driving one of these, when you're driving hard, you can't be careless, you can't be reckless, be responsible and drive well. So pay attention to what you're doing and you'll have a good time, guaranteed. Because this car does its job really well. It serves its purpose. It's actually a pretty fun car. I love Subarus. I need to get one of these. Time to try out the launch control. As soon as you pull the handbrake up, the launch control is activated. Floor it and... oh, it bogged down. But then it... yeah, it launches hard. It bogged a bit. I think the RPM was set a little low. So we're having a small issue with the clutch. But yeah, Subaru's done a great job building rally cars for the street. This car is definitely proof. It's a capable driver's car. It's a superb driver's car. It's a fun car. And it's also a nice daily driver. 4 doors, seats, boot space, everything. Superb package. Overall, it's a superb package. Subaru's done a great job with this car. Big shout out to Kaushalya for letting us have this baby on the show. Thanks a lot, man. I thrashed your car, I'm sorry.